Hey everyone, welcome back to the FourPawHouse. My apologies for the slightly dramatic lighting today, but Rui is downstairs sleeping and I didn't want to bother him with setting this all up and everything. So we're hanging out in my room today and I wanted to give you some tips on preventing separation anxiety. This isn't going to be about helping a dog with existing separation anxiety, but just preventing it in puppies or other dogs who don't currently have it. So thankfully Ruya was very easy this way. He didn't have any issues being left alone. Even on his first night he didn't cry. He only cried to be let out to pee, which was awesome. And overall he's just been pretty okay being left alone. He does cry sometimes when we leave him alone in the middle of the day, but he's fine after 5 minutes or so. And I do believe that part of that is personality and part of it is the steps we put in place to prevent separation anxiety in the first place. So the first thing you want to do is start small. So the first day you bring them home, put them in their crate or their playpen, whatever you're going to have as their safe area, and step out of the room and come right back in before they start crying and just drop a few treats by them. So the first time you might be out of the room for just a couple seconds and then just slowly increase the time you're away for, and each time just come in calmly and drop a treat and go on with your day. If you're coming back into the room with a lot of excited energy and rewarding them with lots of, play and excitement, it can actually increase their anxiety about you leaving because they're getting rewarded by your undivided attention on them. Whereas if you're coming in and just dropping a treat casually with not a whole lot of attention on them, they're still getting rewarded with treats, but they learn that they don't need your attention to be happy. And of course sometimes you will need to leave them for more than 5 or 10 minutes at a time while you're still building up that positive association of being alone. And this is where my second tip comes in. If you have something that they find very, very, very reinforcing, like a special chew or a special treat, use that treat for only when you leave them alone. Of course you want this treat or toy to be something safe to be left alone with. So it can be something like a Kong with frozen wet food inside or a Kong with peanut butter inside. If they absolutely love this treat or toy and they learn that they only get this when they're alone, they're going to actually start looking forward and being excited about spending time alone. On their first night home, you might not have found the perfect toy to leave them alone with, but a stuffed Kong is always a good option and it'll give them something to focus on so that you can get out of the room without a big to-do. And that brings us to my third tip, which is don't make a big fuss about hellos or goodbyes. So when you're coming home, don't make a big fuss about them, don't go right up to them and start playing. Just walk in, go about your day for a bit, and then maybe say a casual hello. And same with goodbyes, just ignore them for a minute or so before you leave and just head out the door. And that's because a confident dog who doesn't have separation anxiety isn't going to greet you like crazy when you get home. If you are making a big fuss about hellos and goodbyes, it's just going to foster the idea that the time when you're home and together is the absolute best time, which, don't get me wrong, it really is, but you also don't want their time alone to be agony in comparison. And my fourth tip might be a bit obvious, but just ignore any crying that happens when you're out of the room. We're going through this with Ruya right now. In the middle of the day when he's still kind of ready to play and I need to leave the room, he'll start crying after 5 minutes or so of being alone. And if I was going to be out of the room for like half an hour or so, I'm just going to ignore the crying the entire time and he'll stop after 5 minutes or so. But if I needed to leave the room for like 5 minutes or so and he happens to be crying when I was going to come back in the room, I'm just not going to go back in the room until he stops completely. A lot of people will tell you just to wait until there's a break in his crying and go in then until he'll get the idea that, oh, the me not crying is what gets her to come back. I haven't found that to be helpful because he's then thinking that the crying was the thing that got me to come back in the room. I wait until he's completely done, after he's given up or just forgotten about it and gone off to do something else or fell asleep, and then I come back in the room. I wait until he's done crying for at least a minute, that way I know he's not just sitting there waiting for me to come back in, he's probably chewing on a toy or sleeping or whatever. And that way he learns that crying is what keeps me away from him, it's not what brings me back. And my fifth and final tip is for your first week or so of having your new dog or puppy home. Night times can be some of the hardest things, and you'll definitely be getting less sleep than you're used to in the first week or so. But if you want to prevent crying at night as much as possible, set yourself 2 or 3 alarms throughout the night. That way you can get up and let them out to pee before they start crying. That way they learn that they don't have to cry to be let out, that you're gonna come and let them out when they need to anyways, and that crying is unnecessary, basically. Some dogs might not have to pee 2 or 3 times a night, but at least they know that they're going to have the opportunity to pee if they need to, and that you will come and see them, it's not like you're gone forever, and that will help reduce their anxiety and reduce their crying at night. And always remember that every dog is different. Some dogs will cry the second you leave their eye line, and some dogs will be fine from the get-go just being alone. Obviously, it's best if you can prevent the separation anxiety instead of correct it. I will have a separate video on correcting it eventually, not sure when. And the tips in this video will definitely overlap with those, so if you do have a dog with existing separation anxiety, definitely try these out and let me know how it goes in the comments. Of course, if it's severe separation anxiety, you want to get the help of a professional trainer in your area because each case is different and I can't, give you specific tips to help your specific situation just over the internet. And if you are in the preventing separation anxiety stages, give these a try as well, and again, let me know how it goes in the comments. So if you want to know when my next video comes out, hit the subscribe button down below. And you can follow us on Instagram and Tumblr at FourPawHouse and Twitter at the number 4PawHouse. And I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!